Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we have We Are the Fire by Sam Taylor. When I read the description of this book, it had me on a completely different side. After reading the book, there were some things I didn't want to wish I could imagine it, but I did. But I'll go for that in a bit more detail in just a second. So here's the front cover. The hardback is just like a deep kind of naval blue, with the spine being like in a fiery orange colour. So, it says in here, when you're rebel with the flame, you die by flame. In the cold, treacherous land of Vesma, children are stolen from their families by a cruel emperor, forced to undergo a horrific transformation procedure and made to serve in the army as magical fire-wielding soldiers. Pran and Okesana, both taken from their homeland at a young age, only have to have each other to hold on. Sorry, my drink went down the wrong hole. Only have each other to hold onto in this heartless place. Pran dreams of one day rebelling against his oppressors and destroying the empire. Okesana only dreams of returning home and creating a peaceful life for them both. When they discover the emperor has new plans for their kind, more terrible than ever, Pran and Okesana vow to escape his tyranny once and for all, and their methods and ideal differ drastically, driving a wedge between them. Worse still, they soon find out the only way to defeat the monsters who subjugated them may have to be monsters themselves. May become monsters themselves. I was like, okay, we're gonna see how it goes. So let's go to our first little thing, which is this. So this is telling us about the Tlukabrets, something like that. I can't know how to pronounce it. So telling us what the ranks and the colours are. So like if you're a commander, they wear white, nightmares are blue, helagons are orange, goblins are bright red, imps are dull red, and the novice has no colour. I was like, ooh, interesting. And then next page we have a map. A good map. It is a bit dark, so you can probably just about see it with the lighting. So there we go. Then we have this. On page 108, it's still like a little thing here. It says, jump the flames with me, my love. Jump the flames so high. Jump the flames with me, my dear. Together we will fly. I was like, that's interesting. I did not want to know that. But it's actually quite interesting to read. And then we go to 204 and we have kind of more like it. It says, out in the mountains, the fires were born with crackle and flame on the earth's first morn. One by one they left their lair and lit the forests with piercing glare. Out in the mountains the monsters arose, all ambers and fires to the fights the land's foes. With stealth and unflinching ori, they struck and all smiled and oppose. And then we have one more of a little bit. Another twit. Out from the mountains the demons come forth, avenging all wrongs wrought from east to north. To Ludobrets come and come along, guardians to keep Vesma strong. I was like, ooh, I like it. That's kind of like that. It's like almost like a poem. No one challenges the flame, no one defies the flame, and no one defeats the flame. This was definitely a book I don't know if I was going to read. I wanted to read it because I had different perceptions of it, but this is more of a dark, young adult fantasy book, which I don't think I would normally go for. But like I say, I couldn't wrap my mind around this whole chaos that happened in this book. It literally was. I was just speechless by this book, and I ended up enjoying it, but because it was really good. But I wanted to carry on reading the book. So this is a story about fire-wielding soldiers and our two protagonists and two of their soldiers, Pran and Okesana. It was told by their kind of side of the story. So each chapter is their story. So it carries on from their side. And that's how we know what kind of world they're living in and what kind of rules they have to obey. Reading by their side of the story helps the reader, us, to understand their complex world a lot more. And it also gives us more insight on what it's being like by being a fire-wielding soldier. So these Tlukabrets are most of them are ruthless, not all of them. But so the pain they inflict on innocent children really hurt my heart and soul, right? I felt like I was going to cry. I couldn't bear seeing it. When you're reading a book and you imagine something, that's how I felt. But I had to also engross in the story. I want to see how Pran and Okesana are feeling and working on freeing themselves and these children. The whole time I was literally hoping that they were able to escape from the cruelty they have been facing for years. So these butts are basically the most, like, the ones that are more ruthless, are scary, ruthless, and pure evil. They're just evil. And then you have some that are just minor, who just want to escape, be rebels, and return back to their families. So the theme and the concept of this book are really dark. Some of the scenes in this book are extremely, like, too extreme, but that is enough for me. For example, the Ruthless Commander abusing and controlling the children so that they are forced to do things they don't want to do. In Nightmares, ranks are kidnapping children so that children are forced to just become like them, and children who don't obey or make small mistakes are punished by being burned alive in a prayer. The cruelty, towards the children too much. It literally made me cry. I was in tears. And hardly ever book makes me cry, depending on how you're reading it, probably to it. So I learned about these Toulouse Brett's history and how they came to help me to understand everything about these scary soldiers. Like I said earlier, most of them are ruthless and being very, like, brainwashed by the heartless Emperor of Vesma, Juhan. And what made these soldiers strong and powerful are the serums they either had to take or get injected into their bodies without the consent by the imperial alchemist, Rutar. Without those serums, they were obviously useless. Juhan and the commander might be heartless and evil in their own ways, but the bigger monster will always be Rutar. He created the serums and used it as his own way to turn most of the soldiers into evil beings, and the emperor agreed. It was still sad that the commander had been brainwashing these children since they've been young and had to serve the emperor and become just as evil as the emperor and the alchemist. I'm kind of glad to see that the minor of some of them didn't submit to the darkness, but instead rebelling against the commanders and the alchemist and the emperor as they should. I was intrigued by the whole alchemy thing, because when it comes to making the serums, as much as Rotar is evil, I admit that he had a great knowledge when it comes to alchemy and outstanding skills. When it comes to mixing different chemical substances, there are many informations regarding this, and I really enjoyed reading it. So aside from all that, this book also has so many epic action scenes that, of course, involve things going up in flames due to the fire. Most of the scenes involve the flair that are brutal, that are some way that I can find memorised in an epic way. For example, with those in the minor kind of rebellion against the Emperor, and had a full epic fire battle with those ruthless soldiers in the Nightmare ranks, and when Okesana made an upgrade on the fire and demonstrated it. As well, love how well written the story and consistent the plots are. It went from children getting punished and brutally to the children rebelling against the Empire, and they led to the two protagonists in their late teens, Pran and Okesana. It started from getting snatched from their homes to getting their freedom back and coming back to their homes and families. I love seeing how these grows up in stories, and the book ended beautifully, just how I expected it to be. The ending was heartwarming enough that I got too emotional. I was so happy to see things were going as it's planned. Let's talk about the characters. So Pran is the male lead in this book and one of the main protagonists. He's a great character with strong determination. This book did justice to his character, and I like that. Pran is really clever. He knew what he was doing, and even if there was a slight chance his plan would fail, even a slight chance that his plan will fail. Pran's character is very raw. He was written as this broken and crippled young man who suffered a lot from the maturity of him as a broken hero who never stopped fighting to be realistic. So Pran showed us that even a hero had to make hard choices sometimes that ended up in so many sacrifices. But even though these are two guys, they look like a man and a woman, don't you think? And I realised it wasn't a two men, it was a man and a woman. I'm just being stupid. So Okesana is the female lead and is one of the main characters also in the book. She and Pran are the ones who led everyone who followed them to freedom. He was leading a troop of fair-warden children. It wasn't sure which plan I think would be more successful at first, but then the more that I've read the book, the more I think that Pran's plan had a high chance of being successful. Okesana's plan is brilliant too, but creating new series will take time. If she wasn't turned into a fire-wielding soldier, since she was still a little kid, she would definitely become a physicist or an alchemist. Either way, she would excel as both, but mostly as an alchemist, since it was proven in the story that she had the skills to become one, which I really liked. The side characters who are good friends to both of them is Yaku, Anu, and Sept. These three are the best of friends. Yaku, despite doubting Pran's ability to lead everyone into freedom, never stopped supporting him and helping him out whenever he needed it. Anu, who's always there for Okasana, never stopped supporting her despite her plan might go awry. Sept is a good friend to both Okasana and Pan. She always supported these two and always wanted to have them help them in any way she even can. Both are suspicious for her in the first place. Now, I'm not picky unless it's a protagonist who falls in love, who falls for the villain. That's a big no, but it depends on the story. Like, I like how the romance was written in the story, and as I said above, they already have this romantic relationship with one another, but the book also explored their relationship a lot deeper. Honestly, I wasn't ready to see them heartbroken and to feel the angst. And I didn't know what would happen to the relationship, but one thing I knew is sure that if they are to break up, it'll be temporary, because there is no way this couple would have deeply in love with each other since the beginning, or end up going their own way and staying as friends. So Pran and Okasana are just different tactics of achieving freedom and what drove them apart in the first place. Yeah, so this book was exciting me to read more books from the author. I think she has, I think this is the only book she has from this author, I believe. I think I searched this up, so I wrote it down. I was like, wait, I need to check. She doesn't actually have any other books. And I was like, oh, well, maybe she has some soon. Because I do want to see if there's going to maybe be a second book to this, or is it going to be something else? We don't know. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time for the next book. Peace.